Fill your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.
Hi, welcome to Healing Outside the Box. I'm your host, Rosemary LaChance, a spiritual healer, advisor, and teacher.
And I'm Carla Augustin, a spiritual teacher and your co-host for tonight.
Tonight we are continuing our Life Explained series, which will give you food for thought information about spirituality based on the teachings of Hans Wilhelm from his Life Explained series. We will play 2 different DVDs and then have dialogue about it. We encourage you to call or email us or write to NHTV with your questions, and we will answer them on the show or privately if you prefer. This is not a religious show, and no matter what religion or belief you follow, the information we give you will only enhance your beliefs. We do not try to convince you of anything. This series is recorded and will be shown in your area on your local public service cable network. Please contact them for dates and times.
If you have a group that you think would be interested in what we have to offer, we are available to come to your group and teach from the series. We'll give you our contact information at the end of the show. Please visit Rosemary's or Hans's website, where you'll find a wealth of information about our show and this series. Now, our shows are available for you to watch on YouTube for free. Just go to YouTube and type in Healing Outside the Box to make your choices. We're constantly adding new shows, so please keep checking back. We're also on Facebook under Healing Outside the Box. Please like our page for the latest information about our show, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Okay, the first one we're going to show you is Indifference to Pain and Suffering. And as soon as the control room gets it on the monitor, we'll play it for you, and then we'll have dialogue after. Here you go.
Hi, I'm Hans Wilhelm. In this video, I want us to take a closer look at the word indifference. If you are a Stoic, the word indifference has a special meaning for you, following the philosophies of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. It suggests to calmly accept whatever is happening and to be indifferent to things like pain, joy, grief, or pleasure. It sounds like a wise philosophy, but I personally believe that it is better to question our emotions and our feelings instead of pushing them back into our subconscious, because they do have a message for us.
The meaning of the word indifference was deepened for me by reading Yuval Noah Harari's international bestseller, Sapiens. I've used some of his amazing observations in a previous video on Technology Unmasked. Today, I want us to consider something very different. I'll begin with sugar. It was virtually unknown in Europe until the end of the Middle Ages. But from the 17th century onwards, Europeans got totally obsessed with anything sweet, from tea to candy. Sugar, just like cotton, cocoa, coffee, tobacco, and rum, was imported in large quantities from America. It was a booming business. Everybody connected with the trade made huge profits, with the exception of approximately 10 million African slaves who were imported to America. Millions more died during wars waged to capture these slaves or during the long voyage from inner Africa to the shores of America. Those who survived endured a short and horrible life. The slave trade was no secret at the time in Europe, and naturally not in America. It was run by private slave trade companies who sold their shares to many middle-class Europeans who were looking for a good investment. They all knew that their sweet profits were the result of the sweat, pain, and death of countless other human beings. But as Harari points out in his book, the Atlantic slave trade did not stem from racist hatred towards Africans. No, it was greed and indifference. The individuals who bought the shares and became stockholders didn't care. The brokers who sold the slaves and the managers of the slave trade companies didn't care, nor did the owners of the sugar plantations. And most Europeans who enjoyed their sweet drinks, their coffee, their cocoa, their rum and cotton, didn't give much thought of how these products were produced. They all were indifferent to the suffering and cruelty of these slaves. But with time, there were individuals with conscience who spoke up against slavery. When the English and American Quakers began to question the morality of slavery, it was the beginning of the abolitionist movement that sought the end of the Atlantic slave trade and set slaves free. Now we could think that similar cruelties like mass slavery could hardly happen again in today's time. After all, with the internet, we know instantly if such a crime is committed anywhere. People would not allow that. People would be up in arms if they now discovered large amounts of humans traded and kept in chains or cages. We would think that they would boycott all products that resulted from such cruelty. But is it really true? Walking through any supermarket, we can see customers leisurely choosing from large displays of meat like veal chops, pork chops, steaks, lamb, chicken, turkey, and seafood, all attractively packaged and ready to be consumed. Most customers, as well as any producer of the eggs, milk, and meat, really stop and think about the fate of the chicken, cows, pigs, whose body part or emissions they are consuming. Just like the candy and sweet tea customers didn't think much about the slaves who made their delicacies happen. Since the beginning of modern mechanized agriculture, these animals are often mass-produced and condemned to their entire life in cages, chains, or crates where each animal feels unmeasurable pain and distress. Here are just a few examples. The egg and poultry industry often squeeze hens into tiny cages in which they can hardly move or even stand erect. Pigs are known for their high intelligence and inquisitive nature, yet pig farmers routinely confine nursing sows inside such small crates that they are literally unable to turn around. Many dairy cows live almost their entire life inside a small enclosure, standing, sitting, and sleeping in their own urine and excrements. To harvest the milk for the dairy market, the baby calf is ripped from the mother at birth. The rest of their short life they spend in narrow dark boxes to become veal. These are all living creatures with complex emotional worlds. They feel, they bond, they fear. They can feel lonely and sad, and they also know joy and contentment. They are, as I pointed out in my video all about animals, our little brothers and sisters. Divine creatures who came here into this world as our companions, not as our slaves or food source. As I mentioned in the same video, a well-balanced vegan or vegetarian lifestyle is statistically a much healthier choice for us humans. So why are we still knowingly create so much horrific misery to millions of others? Just like in the sugar example earlier, it is all about our craving for sensual pleasure. And with this comes the craving to increase profits and production that blinds people to any empathy. In his book Sapiens, Harari concludes, if we accept a mere tenth of what animal rights activists are claiming, then modern industrial agriculture might well be the greatest crime in history. Once again, it is greed and indifference.
With this video, I invite us all to think deeply if there is a way how we individually or collectively can prevent the suffering of our little brothers and sisters. It is about the senseless annual slaughtering of 50 billion farm animals. Because eventually, just like in slavery, we will no longer tolerate this. Leonardo da Vinci already said, "The time will come when men such as I will look upon the murder of animals as they now look on the murder of men."
I know.
Yeah.
That's quite a video to see these things. It's
a lot in that little video. I'm glad he talks about it.
There is. And he's right about the indifference that people feel towards all of this. But let's start with your great questions.
All right. Well, you know, this was an interesting one. I think he's basically saying, when he talks about indifference, like, wake up. I mean, I don't know if you agree with that or what.
I
but
do.
I mean, he's kind of like saying, shaking us, like, wake up
to
different things, whether it be slavery or anything. That's, I think he's talking about evil, really. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, well,
I mean,
that is evil.
You know, are we I would never think of it that way. Are we indifferent to evil? I mean, is that what's happening?
Oh yeah, sure. We're indifferent to that too.
Yeah.
You know how people commit crimes, they become evil and they commit terrible crimes, and people will walk away, run away, hide themselves. They don't want to know. I don't want to talk. I don't want to see.
talk about it, yeah.
So that's the same thing.
Right. Right.
But the and like when it comes to the animals, it's like I don't know. I've been talking to people who did eat them, and I would say, "Let me tell you about the factory farm." Oh no, I don't want to hear it.
Right.
Let me tell you. I don't want.
True.
I don't want to hear it. No.
Right.
No. You know, because if they had to walk through the factory farms and see what happened.
Or watch a Netflix documentary.
Yeah,
you know,
anything.
it's like anything
YouTube,
like that.
anything.
You watch that, and it's like, oh boy.
They don't want.
Yeah.
So if I don't see it, I can eat it. What kind of
Right.
thinking is that? You know, you
Right.
saw those animals, how much they want love.
And even in the news, I mean, anything evil that we hear, if people say, well, I don't believe it. You know, I mean, people say that a lot.
Yeah,
like,
they do. I don't believe it.
I don't believe it.
They're
I don't
exaggerating.
believe. I don't
False
believe that
news.
happens.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. And
Yeah.
as far as the slaves, at that particular time, they were the same way about that. They didn't realize where all these things came from. If it wasn't for those slaves, I hate that word, doing that. And, you know, it's not like these people had a job and they went to work and they loaded the ships, or they picked the cotton or whatever, and then they whistle blow, they got off, and they went home, and then they got benefits and this and that. No, they were unload the boat, put them on there, do what they have to do, get back in there, get in there, and some of them were kept in cells, kept in places, working hours that they told you never knew what you're going to work, and some of them, if they wanted to get away or they didn't do something right, they would hit them, they would beat them, and everything else. And all this, he's saying, contributes to what we eat, what we get, the goods we get. We never stop to think about where it comes from, how is it processed, you know, how does it get here, who worked on this, who did, you know, we don't think about that. I mean, way back then they didn't think about it either.
No, and we don't think about it current day. I mean, I got on just kind of Googling, right? And I mean, now they don't call it slavery, they call it forced labor.
Forced labor,
Forced labor,
nice.
sweeter. Forced labor, and the amount of things that are produced, everything from coffee to cocoa to, you know, just tons of things. I mean, I couldn't get over it. Let's see, coffee, nuts, soybeans, sunflowers, sugarcane, you know, and they even grade companies. There's a place I found called CivilEats.com, CIVIL eats.com, and they even rate companies, and some of our favorite companies are on the list of, you know,
what do they do?
Are very questionable with the forced labor for some of these products that we love, you know.
Even overseas. Like they found the sweat factories in China. Where they were,
every country.
Where they were making all these things.
I mean, I know he just bringing up, you know, slavery as an example, but he got me curious, you know, and I got on and I thought, well, how rampant is it now? I mean, I guess that's a good thing. I watched his video and I thought I want to find out more about slavery. And I mean, it's everywhere. This forced labor is everywhere. It's in every country, and it's countries are enslaving their own people. You know, it's not they're necessarily bringing them all over from somewhere. It's also they're enslaving their own people, and so it's really a deeply disturbing you know, example that he brings up, but. I guess my big question in doing it is, how do we show we're not indifferent? I mean, what do we do? You know, what about it? Say you say, yeah, I guess I do believe there's a lot of forced labor, and you know, like, what do you do about it? You know,
we can take the example of what people are doing for the animals. There's a lot of groups. People have stopped wearing furs as much as they used to. You don't see many fur stores. You don't see many advertisements for furs anymore, because people were saying what they do, skinning animals alive for their fur and all that, without any compassion or anything else, keeping them locked up just the same way as they do in a factory farm. So that helped. Then there's people out there who go out and they demonstrate. I was demonstrating once at a circus about the enslavement of the animals that they keep in the cages, and they treat them awful in the circuses. And I got yelled at some really nasty words, but I didn't care. I just smiled at them. And a whole bunch of us did that. You got to get out. And so it's the same thing with the food and people who have that kind of slavery business. You don't buy their products. You get online, you find out where it came from, you find out everything about it, and you stop using it. When there's no, it's all supply and demand. When there's no demand,
Right.
there's no supply. They can't supply. They can go under. These, and like he said, it all stems from greed. Greed, 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 greed. And don't pay them much, and these horrendous conditions they work under, they don't care because they can make more money. They force them and
Oh yeah,
can't
no,
make more money.
definitely.
And that's all it's all about is money, money,
it's
money,
greed.
money, money.
And but I think it's no longer, you know, cotton and sugar. You know, now it's like it's unbelievable the
yeah.
list of foods. I mean, we'd be giving up an awful lot if we really did decide to go that route. So I don't know what's. I think, you know, is it enough? I guess my question is to be aware. Is he suggesting to show you're not indifferent, you be actively involved in something?
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
whatever that is, even in your own little world, I mean, I think.
You know, it's hard enough to get people to stop eating animals. If I post something on a news site or somewhere on our Facebook, you know, I get all this static back, all this flack about, you know, why you should eat animals, and they make jokes about it, and they don't care. You can't. It's so hard for people to give it up. I don't know what it is. It doesn't taste good unless you put ketchup and mustard and all this junk on a hamburger. It doesn't taste good on a roast unless you put all this stuff and gravy on it. It's just, we're spoiled. And like you said, things we have to give up. What? A certain kind of purse, a certain kind of dress from some place where they do this kind of thing. What do we really actually have to give up? We're so spoiled, especially the people who are rich, because they can buy the most expensive things, which are sold with such a profit because of the people who work in these places that do it, you know. So yeah, find out, and you have to do something about it. Do something about the animals, do something about the clothes, do something about the slaves, do something about whatever it is that he's talking about. You have to do that.
Right, right. And even if it's, you know, I started thinking about it, I mean, even if it's on a small scale,
Yeah,
you know, even
right.
if it's like, okay, I'm going to give up coffee, you know, or I'm going to give up whatever, or I mean, I know I had my little thing I went through where I was calling companies all the time to find out if certain products that I had bought had GMOs in them. And then making it very clear, they said, they don't want to tell you it does have GMO. They don't. They try to skirt around it. But then you say, well, I want, you know, you need to find out for me. And then they'll come back on and they'll tell you, well, it does. It has a GMO. But, you know, the government says the GMO is fine.
Government says,
And the government says, and it's like, you know what? It's not fine for me. So thank you for letting me know. But I'm not going to be buying your product anymore. So I think, too, it's important to let people know what you're doing.
And you know, another thing that really was successful, the products that were tested on animals, they suffer so badly for these products. Putting stuff in their eyes to see if they got irritated, they become blind, the pain. They don't give anything for pain. So a lot of people went up in arms about that and said, we don't want to buy products that are tested on animals. And so many companies stopped doing it.
Oh, wow.
Some pretended, but they got caught.
Yeah.
They found out and they put it. God bless these people.
Oh, these watch groups like this one that I just told earlier about, you know, I mean, it's just, that's civilites.com and stuff like that, you know, like these watch groups, and they just are always bothering the companies and always, you know, saying, making them be accountable for what they're doing. So
these are the people, these are the great people that you don't hear anything about. And a lot of times they get arrested. Get arrested for doing something so wonderful, you know.
Yeah.
It's just free
It's hard
enterprise.
to know. I mean, you just, I guess you have to figure it out. Each person has to figure it out on their own. I mean, I think it's powerful just to recognize, yes, this does exist. I'm not happy about it. I don't like it. I don't whatever. It does exist. I mean, I think there's things
Start small.
that we can do. Yes,
Yeah.
I
Stop
think so
consuming
too. I
something,
think
you
we
know.
can. I think, you know, definitely. I mean, I think, you know, even just pray for people. You know, just, I mean, if I hear about something on the news, especially anything with children.
You what, say
and
that again?
Pray. Just
Yeah.
pray for people, you know, pray for the animals, pray for the people that are
Pray for their
the
awakening, for
slavery.
people to wake up.
Pray for people to be awakened. Pray
Yeah.
for people, you know what I mean? Just, there's always something that you can do that really resonates with your spirit. I think maybe is the
You
point
can
here.
pray. You can stop buying a certain product.
If that's what, right.
You can
if,
do a lot of things in a
that's what-
small way. Okay,
Right, if
you,
that's
not
what
everybody's going to go out and
feels
be an
good.
animal activist or be an
Right,
activist.
not
for,
everybody is.
For, you know, anything. They don't want to. They can't. Some of the people just can't. Are not
Right.
built that way. They can't do it. But yeah, little ways. Stop being the consumer of these things.
Right.
That's it. Stop being the consumer, whether it's an animal or
Yeah.
the clothing or anything.
And be curious, you know, if you hear something, because I always think about, you know, we have Raymond Bouchard
Yes.
on the show, and he does all that, the sex trafficking and the human trafficking and all of that. And I remember him saying on the show one time, it is here to stay. And which is greatly disturbing, but you can almost see it. I mean, when you look globally at all the people that are still enslaved and in so much capacity, but yeah, I guess you don't give up with, you know.
No, he does
with,
whatever little part he
you
can
know,
do.
he does what he does.
If he can save 10 out of
you know.
100, that's 10 out of 100.
Right,
You know,
that
yeah.
It's like whatever you can do, and even just being aware that it exists. You know how many people just don't even want to hear about it. I mean, don't even want to hear that you know, there's even such a thing as human trafficking in this country. You know, and I mean, they just don't want to
know.
hear about it.
See, and that also goes for the women who are weak and who come from bad home lives and who run away, and then they're given drugs and then they get addicted. So that all comes from people who agree to do these kinds of things. And then when they want to get out, they have a hard time. So stop doing it, these men. Stop doing it. Just stop getting hookers and stop doing it. But like he said, they won't stop doing it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So until drastic measures happen, and they will happen eventually on this earth, the very drastic measures will happen. But you wish you could do something before that. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing, and
It's good for your soul if you do it.
It's good for your soul. I mean, even like whatever it is that you can do, even if it's like I said, just praying for people, you know. But I was reading an article and about, it was very coincidental this week, about slavery, and you know, during the Civil War times and stuff, and how, so in the U.S. they had a civil war to stop slavery.
Right.
That's what
Lincoln
we did.
wanted, yeah.
And they
Lincoln wanted slaves
said,
anymore.
no more slaves, and half the country said, yes, we want slaves, and half the country, whatever, said no. But I didn't realize the statistics. 600,000 people died during the Civil War. Now, we weren't that big a country at the time, because this
Right.
was like 1860s. So we did not have that many people. It's like half the amount of people in all our wars that have died in the Civil War.
Wow.
So huge to stop slavery in this country. But, you know, is that an answer? You know, I mean, because you look at other countries like, say, Africa, you know, and they have enslaved fellow Africans. It would take like a civil war to, I mean, you know, and then we're not condoning war, right? I mean,
I know.
So, you know what I mean?
That kind of thing is
It's
a tough situation.
It's a really tough situation.
But
you
that's
know?
because people are the way they are. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You just sit there and say, well, we don't want to kill all these people, so we'll just let it go on. You
I
can't.
don't know.
Something has to be done. And if they
Yeah.
won't listen, then drastic measures happen. Most
Yeah.
people don't listen until drastic measures happen.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it's like that
Yeah.
movie Jaws. I never forget it. He kept telling them, don't open the beaches, don't open the beaches. And the mayor said, we have to open the beaches because
Yes.
And so he said to him, you know, you're not going to do anything until that shark comes up and bites you on the ass.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, yeah.
And I laughed like crazy because he was right.
Right.
It doesn't. What in effect it means they're not going to do. No one's going to do anything unless it affects them personally.
Right.
And if it does affect them personally, they can't have their meat. They can't have their fur coat. They can't have this dress that was made from slaves over in China. They
Yeah.
can't have They're going to say, oh, the indifference to pain and suffering is, I'm not going to think about
I'm just saying
the slave. In factory slaves, I'm not
Right.
going to think about the suffering of the animal. I'm not going to think about this. I'm not going, so I can have it in peace.
Yeah.
But when you pass over, you'll be shown just what happened.
What you ignored.
And, yeah, what you ignored.
Yeah.
And what your feeling was. And because
And you being indifferent,
Yeah.
what that repercussion was for
That's right.
other people.
you will be shown that nothing goes unnoticed. Nothing goes away. It doesn't.
Right.
Until you say, oh my God, and you're so, so, so heartily sorry for it, then you can move on. And you can't pretend that. Some people get it while they're on the planet. Some people have awakenings while we're here on Earth, and they realize, and I know I've had some awakenings where I had just sobbed my head off. And I said, how could I have done this type of thing? You know, it's not something horrendous, but for me it was not, I didn't like it. And I can see how painful that is. So you can imagine, I was able to cry. I had a body to cry with. I could go out the next day and get myself an ice cream sundae or something to treat myself. When you're in spirit, you know, you can do that. You don't have those things to do. The place that you go to, because you're so unawakened, like the movie Astral City, you can't do those kinds of things. So on your body, the sorrow that you feel is like a burning, burning pain inside of you. And that's why people say it's hell. It's hell because it hurts. It hurts. So if they wake up while they're here and start doing things and start changing their ways, so much easier for you.
It is a good way to
You
look
do
at
it now, you do it later, but you
Yeah.
gotta do it. You
Yeah.
gotta do it. They think, oh, she's full of baloney, you know. Okay.
Well, no, that's
all I can
that's
do.
the spiritual path.
Yeah.
All right. Now, in regards to animals, does Jesus say we cannot eat animals? Does he
He
say
just said
that?
we should not. They never
He
tell us
said
we can't do anything.
Okay, so should not.
No, animals were created by God. They're our little brothers and sisters. They have part souls. They have emotions. They have feelings, as you saw in the little video. And there's even more than that. They're loyal. God put them here for us to take care of, and they are here to bring us love and to teach us unconditional love, to teach us compassion, to keep us company, to comfort us. Look what they do to people. They have these dogs that help them, you know, emotional or
Yeah,
someone who's
comfort
blind.
dogs.
Comfort
animals,
rescue animals and so forth. They have all these things. They send them to nursing homes for people, and they try to cheer them. Animals do everything for us, and what do we do for them? So many people treat them wonderful, and they love them. But there
Right.
are that percentage of people who are so horrendous to animals, think they have no soul, think they have no feelings, and they do horrible things to them. You know, and then one of the bad things they do, they don't personally do it, but they eat the animal that was treated horribly, killed so that they could eat it, and they don't care. Indifference. I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. I want my hamburger. I want my pork roast. You know. So yeah. Yeah.
Do animals have karma?
No.
They don't have karma.
Animals are the only beings on this planet, beside nature and mineral kingdoms, that do not have any karma. They're totally, completely innocent. Only humans have karma. Even a baby who comes into this world has karma.
Karma, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. All right. So I mean, what do you think is the opposite of indifference? Compassion? Maybe?
Compassion,
right?
yeah.
Having
Oh,
compassion.
Having compassion.
Yeah. So even
That's the thing.
feeling for something, you know, you hear something. I mean, we can't, there's so much that goes on in the world. You know, we can't get wrapped up in everything. You know, I think you kind of got to pick a lane and kind of go with it, whatever you're most passionate about, and, you know, go with that, you know.
See, the factories, farms keep people away from them. They won't let you tour them. They won't let you do anything. And a good point was made on this like a candid camera show.
Right.
They had a camera, and in the supermarket, they were selling sausage. And they said, would you like some fresh sausage? Really, really fresh. And they said, yeah. He said, okay, wait a minute. And he took this little pig, picked up this little baby pig, and put it in this box. And they said, what are you doing? He said, well, we're going to give you fresh sausage. We're going to grind the pig up. And you're going to grind the pig up? Yeah, right. No, do. You should have seen them. And then sometimes they put them in, they make a little noise. Stop. No, I don't. See, most people, when they're aware, when they're being made to see, and most people, their hearts will just melt, and they'll learn a lesson from it. But until they see it, and because they keep it away from us, these manufacturers, so they can make so much money and not ever stop it, That's what happens. But you people out there, you're God. You're created by God. You have compassion. It's in you. You just have to reach in and pull it out and get rid of these desires for these things that are not right. And I know, just seeing that. When one woman was standing there sobbing, no, don't do this, and she's hitting the guy and everything. You see? And this was a woman who ate meat because he asked her, yeah, well, oh, no more. See, once we see it, we don't do it anymore. Most people don't. So that shows that in us is built-in compassion.
Well, I think we have to have. I think we evolve when we have compassion for all living things, right? Everything, the plants, the fruits, the vegetables, just everything.
You treat everything nice. You don't chop
everything.
a plant down and throw it in the garbage and cut it out and pull it out.
No,
whenever I taste I always say thank you very much. Yeah, for the flower.
Thank you
for the
gratitude.
vegetable.
Yes,
right.
Thank you.
They also have feeling. They have little part souls. They have
to have feeling.
They have a collective soul, and they have a feeling.
Yeah.
When you have a plant and you treat it nice and you talk to it, how it blooms.
It just comes. Yeah.
They even attach electric things on some plants, and they talk to it and they watch the thing move.
And they watch it.
And they have feelings
you see
too.
how happy it is. Yeah.
And people say, well, you're going to kill a vegetable. Well, it's the root of the vegetable that is in the ground. And the vegetables came here to give us of themselves the right things to eat. They don't feel the pain that an animal feels. So it's a whole different thing. But they had to make up something to try to justify eating animals. You know?
Well, yeah, and I'm not justifying eating animals, but the apples are happy in the tree. They really don't want to come down. You know what I mean?
Yes, they do.
Why?
Because that's what they want to give themselves to us. It brings them great joy to give themselves to us. And it's not the apples; it's the tree. It's the tree where the life is. Okay, so that's it. When you cut down the apple tree, yes, it's going to suffer.
Right.
But to give you the apples from it, it's happy to.
It's happy to do that.
See, people don't realize animals in nature kingdom love us. They love us so much. They want to do for us. And all we do, so many people do, I should say, not everyone, treats them like they deserve what they get. Oh, I deserve this. Just pull an apple off the tree. Pull a thing out of the ground. Don't be thankful and so forth. When the little spirit, as soon as you do the spirit of the carrot or whatever, goes up to heaven, you thank it and it's happy. Believe me. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. It's so true. How do I know?
It's an interesting look at it. I don't know how I feel about that, but I think it's an interesting look at it for sure. I think that I don't know. I tend to think the carrots are very happy in the ground. And I think every living thing, including us, knows what it's getting into when it comes here. So I think some animals know that they're going to be in the wild, and some animals know they're going to be abused, and some animals know they're going to be eaten. And some animals, just like the fruits and the vegetables, and I think they know. I think they know what they're getting into. Some trees are going to live in a rainforest, and some trees are going to get cut down for lumber, and some trees, and I think I have to believe that the idea of heaven and God and all of that is just so magnificent and amazing that I think it just the living things that come here, I just have to believe. I don't know. I just believe that they know what they're signing up for in a way.
God put them here for us to
They put them here for us,
enjoy.
and I think they agreed. I think they agreed to come. I don't think they're forced to come. I think they
the vegetables
agreed to come.
and all the fruits and all that.
Everything,
They
all
agreed to
whatever
come and give themselves
their
to
nature,
us.
whatever
the
their
animals,
nature
on the
is.
other hand, did not. No, they did not.
So,
They didn't come for that. They come for the other reasons I told you about.
Yeah. All right, but that's interesting. Okay. And let's see. I think I do think too. It's important with this stuff that when you're aware, you become aware, and you're whatever horrific thing, right? And you're not indifferent. It's important, I think, as spiritual teachers to tell people, like, you're not supposed to take the energy on. You're supposed to do something. Like, you're supposed to be aware and do something, but not take the energy on. In other words, if you start looking at, the children that are starving, the slavery that's going on all over the world, the greed, the this, the that, the abuse of animals. If you start taking all that on, the energy of that on, you'll be of no use to anybody, especially yourself. You know, it's important to not take that energy on. I mean, don't be aware, do something, pray, give something, you know.
But when you say don't take it on, what do you mean?
Yeah, just literally absorbing the energy. Like, don't absorb the energy of it.
No,
no,
you shouldn't
don't absorb the energy
an
of
energy
it.
of anything negative.
No, don't
But you
absorb
should
the
think
energy of it.
in what small
But be
way.
aware of that.
What small way can I do something to contribute?
Right.
What can I
Right.
do? You know?
Exactly. Give of
And
yourself, but don't take it on.
Pray about it, and God
Yeah.
will show you what to do.
Right. Right.
He'll
I mean,
show
it's
you.
overwhelming. I mean, we don't, you know,
Oh, it is
we don't want to
overwhelming.
get depressed about it. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's the thing. We just don't want to.
No, just pray about it. Ask what
So-
you can do. That's the bottom line that we have to say right now. What can I do? And God, show me the way. Show me how I can help.
All right, so my last question. Do you think we need to show compassion for people first, and then our compassion for animals will follow, or the other way around?
No, I think it's just one big. Put them all in the thing and stir them up. Everybody show compassion for everything. You can't show one and then the other. You're either compassionate or you're not, and you'll come to a person and help a beggar, and turn
Yeah.
around. There's a dog there, and you'll do something for the dog. Or you'll see the dog first, and you'll do something, and then you'll turn around and help him. No, not there's not a first or a second.
Okay.
It's just
I didn't know how, if there was a way of growing compassion.
No.
You know, it's just,
as it comes along, and believe me, the angels and God will put them in your path, and you will start showing compassion. You'll know how it is.
so is it already in your heart, or
It's
it's a
in your
matter
heart.
of you developing it?
Compassion is always in it. It's in us.
Okay.
It's one of the things that's in us. We all have it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we all have the compassion. Now, do we bury it so that we can have these things we want because of our greed and our
Right.
selfishness, or do we show it when it's necessary? That's what it is. All the wonderful traits are in us: compassion, love, understanding. Everything is there. Helpfulness. Everything is in us because God created us.
Right.
He doesn't create junk.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So you just have to wake up. Okay.
All right.
We doing all right? And we're going
Great.
on to the second
Yeah.
one. Does that help?
That definitely helped.
All right. Okay, the second show we're going to, DVD we're going to play is called Recognize Yourself.
Hi, I'm Hans. Today I will share with you a very unique and powerful tool that will help us to make some amazing progress in our spiritual development. The tools for self-recognitions are manifold. There is the law of projection, the law of karma, the law of resonance, and many, many more. But today I will speak about a very simple and easy to use tool that we can use at any time and at any place. It is called the mystical seismograph.
Let us firstly become aware of who God is and who we are. The eternal divine Spirit of God is omnipresent. What does that mean? It means that God is in everything. It is the ever-flowing God Spirit. It is the power that animates every atom, molecule, every cell, every stone, every star and planet, every plant, animal, and human being. Let us fully become aware of this, that God is around us wherever we are. And not only that, God is also in us, in our soul, and in every cell of our body. Nothing can exist without the power of God. He is also in every thought, every word, and in every problem, every stirring and movement, in every moment is God. God is the all-present, omnipresent life, the I am that I am. Therefore, we say, God is. Let us fully grasp this thought, God is, and feel deeply into it. Every time we think and absorb these two words, we take up communication with the highest consciousness, God, in us and around us. Many find great comfort in this deeper knowing that we are totally secure and embedded in the All-Spirit of God. Secondly, let us consider who we are. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Our true nature is divine. We are children of God and the heirs of the eternal kingdom. Yes, we are divine, and by saying the words, I am divine, we remind ourselves of our true noble nature and heritage which is love. By now combining these two statements, God is and I am divine, we are creating a powerful tool for self-discovery. This statement is consciousness and a mighty power of divine energy. It instantly touches anything that is non-divine in our soul and brings it into strong vibration. These are the burdens that lie over the divine, the purity of our inner being. They're all our human wrongful behavior, our egocentricity, and they suddenly come into motion and become noticeable to us just by using this tool of self-discovery. Let me illustrate this in a simple example. Consider we have this spring here of clear and life-giving water within us. But unfortunately, the spring, or well, is blocked with many stones and boulders. Each one represents our past transgressions against the law of love. They are our soul burdens. Through our non-loving behavior, we have over time clogged the source and flow of our own spiritual and physical well-being. This spring needs to be totally cleared again so that the life-giving energy can fully nourish us again and the life force can freely flow through us again. And this is where our mystical seismograph comes in. By consciously using the statement God is and I am divine, a certain stone or boulder gets into a stronger vibration like this. Now we notice it and know what it is that we have to clear up today. It shows us where the non-divine in us still is. The choice of which boulder or transgression is coming into higher vibration has a lot to do with what karmic burdens the repository planets are downloading each day uniquely for us. You can find more on this in my video, How the Planets Rule Us. Let me give you some typical examples. We may suddenly become aware that we had disparaging thoughts, or that we should clear up some mess, may it be in our home or at work or in a relationship, or go and apologize to somebody whom we have hurt. There are 1,000 possibilities. It can be anything as small as an unhealthy body posture to healing a relationship again. So we take the chance and grasp this boulder, which is the negative or human ego, our base self, and look at it. Where does it come from? And then we clear it up. For instance, if it is a negative thought, then we can clear it up by replacing it with a positive thought. If it was with words, then we go and clear it up with words. If it was a misdeed, then we do something with a deed to put it into balance, perhaps a gift. And the mystic will always rely on the help of the Christ within us. If we do this and resolve not to do it anymore, then this boulder will no longer block this well. The next time we use this mystical seismograph, we will notice another boulder starting to vibrate, maybe this one, and then the next one, and the next. Eventually, the spring will be cleared and this life-giving water here will start flowing again and nourish our soul as we clear out these rocks and boulders. The water is the light ether which will animate us again and for which our soul and body thirst for. As we clear up these rocks one by one, the lighter, freer, more buoyant we become and thus move a little closer to our Heavenly Father. Therefore the statement, God is and I am divine, is a mystical seismograph, as it brings into intense vibration a particular issue that we should clear up today, right now.
I've taken this amazing tool from the wealth and wisdom in this thick book, the great cosmic teachings of Jesus of Nazareth to his apostles and disciples who could understand them. Every time I read this book, I notice something new. This book is chock-a-block full of deep insights and wisdom that we can now understand because the consciousness of mankind has risen. And if you are interested in this book, you can find a link to it on my recommended book list on my website lifeexplained.com. Before you watch any other video, you may want to try out this mystical seismograph and feel deeply into the sentence, God is and I am divine, and see what comes up, what wants to be cleared up today. But this is only a suggestion. Thank you for having been with me.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a very
nice.
powerful video.
Yeah, very powerful. And a new technique that I didn't know about. Yeah, that's interesting. I want to talk a little bit, though. He was saying how, God is everywhere. He's in us. He's in every cell. He's in our soul. And it just got me thinking. I'm thinking, well, really, if God is everywhere, then how does evil exist? Like, how is there room for evil? Like, how does it even exist if God's everywhere? Why is there evil?
He's even in evil.
So he is in evil.
Yeah, he's in everything.
He's just in everything.
Because God created everything, okay? And what happened with evil is how it came. I mean, I can give you the exact story of what happened, but I'm just going to give you an example of what happened, is that some of the things he created turned, okay? They turned to their back on him.
Right.
And the reason they were able to do that was because he gave us free will.
Right. The whole free will thing.
He didn't create us and say, now you have to be this way. No. He just opened his heart and he created us and made us beautiful and perfect. And some people wanted more. It wasn't enough to have all the wonderful gifts. They wanted to be him. They wanted to be the number one, which we see it here in small ways, rising to the top all the time. And that's what happens. So he's even in evil. When you see evil, there's a goodness. There's a goodness somewhere in the evil if you look for it. There's goodness in everything because God is in
everything.
Every
That's an interesting way to
thing.
look at look at it.
Somebody asked me, what did they say? How can he be in everything? And I gave the example of a man and a woman get married. The man gives the woman a part of his body, and inside the woman starts to create life. Okay, so then he comes out and it's your child. All right, so the child is part of you and the wife. Okay, so like God, He created all of us. So we're every single thing. We made this. Okay, everything that we have, do every single thing you see in this whole world, there's some of God in it because it was created by something, even if it wasn't from our body, it's created from our mind. He's in everything. Everything.
Good. Yeah, that's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah. I'm actually reading a book now called The Universal Christ. Did I tell you about that? Richard Rohr wrote it, and exactly that, how God is just in everything, or the Christ, is in everything. It's really fascinating
Christ
to think about.
And God are two different entities, you know that. So
Well,
Christ,
not Jesus.
God is in Christ.
Yeah,
not Jesus.
Not Jesus. No, the idea of like Christ consciousness. It's just the idea. Jesus came to represent what Christ is. Okay, but the Christ is in everything, and if you start looking, you see the Christ in everything, and even, like plastic cup or something like that.
What do you mean? What does he mean by Christ? How does he define Christ?
I think, I just started the book, but but I think really, it's different from God, but it's a way of being. Christ, I mean, God is God, but the Christ is a way of being, and that's why Jesus came to exemplify the Christ way of being and living.
Well, what Jesus was really called, and what they called him in my studies, is he is the Christ of God. He is not. His name wasn't Jesus Christ.
It's not Jesus Christ,
no.
right? That wasn't his last name.
His name was whatever Joseph's name was.
Yeah.
But how it came down through the ages, he is the Christ of God.
Right.
So when you look up the meaning of Christ, which you're looking now, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's fast.
And he has a name that Christ gave him. I mean, God gave him when He created him. We all have names.
Right.
All of us.
Yeah, you've
and
said
I
that
should write it down and bring it in. Yeah. Because I have it. It's in that big book. No. I don't remember if it's in that big book or the other book, The Living God. I don't know. But I do have it.
Well, I didn't mean to get us off on that,
sorry.
but when you were talking, it just reminded me of this book that I'm reading. So, just to be clear, if nothing can exist without the power of God, then does that mean evil only exists because of the power of God? It can't exist without the power of God, right?
No. Because God created everything.
Right.
So it's even in evil.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah, it's
Not
an
that he's
interesting way to look
evil.
at it. No.
But
No.
evil's just a word
Right.
to describe bad behavior.
Right.
Okay? Even in the Lucifer himself, he was created by God. He was a beautiful, beautiful, high, high angel who fell. People see stories all the time and see movies about fallen angels.
Right.
All right? So an angel is actually someone who's never been incarnated. A
Right.
fallen angel is someone who fell because of the things that they did and so forth, and they were the ones who who wanted to be gods and who wanted to follow in the revolution. Oh, there's so much to tell you. You'd have to read the books.
Yeah.
But that's what that is. So God is in everything. He's in Lucifer. He's in all the demons. He's in everything.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not that
Yeah.
he's bad, and not that he created evil. It's just that he gave us free will. When he gave us free will, it means we have the choice to do anything we want. We came up with this. Okay, we came up with we wanted to be God. All right, and we wanted to worship somebody else, somebody different. Oh, I'm going to make it. You know, our politicians vote for me, and I'm going to do this, and vote for me, and I'm going to do this. It's the same thing, and we followed blindly. So we took that goodness and we turned it around into evil. But the goodness is still there, and if you can turn it back,
Yeah,
evil
you
will
can
be
connect
gone.
to it. Yeah, you can connect to it. All right, so I love this God is and I am divine. This whole tool of self-discovery, or the mystical seismograph as he called it. How does saying this lead us to knowing what blocks? Like, I don't quite get what that is.
What that
you
is.
say it and then all of a sudden, like, walk me through that. How's that?
Well, God is means God exists.
Right.
And I am divine means God exists in me. Okay? So when we say God is, it means we say he exists, and we say I'm divine means God is divine. So I am like God, I am divine. And it's like people tell you to say over and over again something like a mantra or something to help you to raise your vibration. This is the same thing. Like the alcoholics have that prayer. That's I think it's the most beautiful, wonderful prayer. You know, accept the things I cannot change.
Oh, yes.
Right, all that.
Yes.
So we just say that. And what it does is it raises our vibration. It's like if somebody gives you this great compliment and says, you know, you think you didn't do this, but you did this, and you did it wonderful, and you're this, and you're that, and you're the other, and you think, really? Could I be? And you kind of straighten up a little bit, and you raise your shoulders, and you
Right.
start thinking, yeah, you know, and maybe I should get more into that and act more like that. So it's like saying, I am divine. I am divine. Why am I acting on doing all these terrible things? Because I'm divine. Because God created me, and He's divine.
So it's like an affirmation.
Yeah, it's like an affirmation, and it just and it loosens the thoughts. Like, you know, you're going along and you're thinking about things, and you say that, and a little bit later, you get a thought in your head, and you say, you know, I didn't act right the last time I talked to Susie. You know, no, I didn't. I shouldn't have said this. You know, this might have hurt her feelings. That's what it does. It opens up, you know. I turned away
so you can
from
be
that.
honest with yourself.
That
almost.
beggar, I turned away from him. I had $1. I could have gave him $1. So it opens up those things, and next time you'll do better. And you just keep doing that, and you get better and better and better. And it's so easy to remember, and you could say it all the time. I say it so many times during the day.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Just say it. Just walking along, driving along, you just say it.
Yeah.
And it's like a magical formula for opening up your mind and making you realize.
That's nice. Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is nice. I'm going to have to try it.
Yeah.
So does something always come up? Or
Well, it may not come up immediately, but it come up later.
At some point it will come up.
And then just the feeling of it, saying, there is a God. It's true. He watches over us. And I am divine. I am perfect. Why am I acting like such a ick, you know?
Right.
Okay. Or, you know, I'm not so bad. I did this and I did that. It's okay. You can give yourself a little pat on the shoulder. That's okay. You know, you can say, okay, I did this good. I did this right. You need to be proud. You can't just go and say, no, I gotta do this. I gotta do this. You know, give yourself credit when you do something good.
When you do something
yeah.
good.
But don't let it blow your head up. You know,
Yeah.
like I go to your head, oh, well, I'm better than you. I did this. You look and say, hey, I'm better than you. I did this. No, nobody's better than anybody else.
Right.
We're just on different levels of the stairway. Just different people stand different. But we're all the same. The lowliest beggar in the street is as good as I am. Is as perfect as I am. He doesn't know it yet, but he will. You know, and anything I could do to help him. Sometimes, you know, you can't give money to certain people because you know they're going to go buy liquor. They're not really going to. So the best thing to do is buy the food and bring it to them if you want to help someone, you know, or get a shirt and give it to them. But giving them money is a tough situation. I'm just saying that because people say, well, I gave him money and he just, yeah, that's human nature.
Right.
Go back in.
Right.
But there's many things you can do.
Well, I love how he says, basically, when you do this, you're really making amends, right? In a sense, you know, it's not like some big thing, like you apologize.
Wait a minute, start over again.
Okay, so I like how he says that basically we're kind of like just making amends for something that we did. You know, it's almost like a little penance for something we did. So he says, you know, if you have a negative thought, just replace it with a positive thought. I love the simplicity of how he explained that. You know, maybe you just need to apologize to somebody and you realize that. Maybe you just need to be better the next time it's something, like you recognize it.
Exactly.
And you're not, I guess, going with the last show, you're not even indifferent to your own behavior, you know, being, being cognizant of your own behavior. So it doesn't mean, I suppose, clearing up karma and all of that, moving these big boulders, the karma. It doesn't have to be something huge all the time. It's this little day-to-day stuff.
You're right.
Simple apology to someone.
That's right. That's exactly right. You might say, you know, I didn't treat you so well this morning when you I came to work and you offered me something. I went, oh, you know, I was in a bad mood and I'm sorry. I apologize. That's beautiful. That's wonderful. By the way, I remember that saying. It said, remember when I told you about that saying?
Which one?
God said, I heard your prayer. Now trust my timing.
Yeah.
That's the part I forgot.
Yeah, trust my timing.
I trust my timing. All in good time. Everything.
It
Even
always
that,
is.
you say God is and I am divine. And then in time, when something comes up,
If you're open.
you're open.
Yeah, be open.
Well, the thing is, that's what makes you be open, by saying that all the time. Anytime, any place, anywhere.
Right. So.
Is there anything else?
So no, I think I'm pretty good, actually. I think I'm pretty good. I think it's a nice thing. And,
you said, do we know what issue we need to clear up or first try, take a couple of tries? Yeah, it does.
It takes a couple
Yeah,
of tries,
because you may
right?
go to someone and they won't accept your apology.
Well,
You know?
all right.
So you go back again another time.
Yeah.
But if they really, really won't, and they think you're bugging them, just let it go.
Let it go.
And pray and turn it over to God.
Always turn it over to God.
And He can talk to them.
Yeah.
And open them up for you.
Right.
All right, sweetheart, it was great.
This was fun.
Time is up, so we're going to have to give our contact information. For me, Healing Outside the Box, Rosemary LaChance. My phone is 203-627-7966. My email is whitebuffalo8@comcast.net. My website, www.rosemarylachance.com. And the great website, www.gabrielle-publishing-house.com, where you can get all this information. Carla?
Hi, and you can get a hold of me on my website at carlaaugustin.com. And please check out my show on YouTube. You simply type in my name at youtube.com, and all the shows for Spiritual Invitation come on up.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
We'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Fill your thirst
Okay, good.
beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.